I'm Vincent Balistreri for the International Business Times, and this is the Acer Aspire U620 all-in-one desktop. It's the newest in the line of Acer's all-in-one desktops that try to do everything for everyone. But is it any good? The black and silver monochrome look is popular these days. The Aspire is nice to look at, but it won't blow your socks off with funky form. Making the speaker bar at the bottom silver is a nice touch though. Now along the side you'll find most features are nicely tucked away. On the left, a USB 3.0 input, along with an SD card reader, HDMI port, and the headphone jack. On the right, the CD tray. The power plug is also on the right, but it gets in the way of the Aspire's stand, meaning you can't lay the computer flat while it's powered. You'll see why that's worth mentioning in a minute. Around the back, there's another USB 3.0 input and a pair of USB 2.0 inputs, along with another HDMI, Bluetooth receiver, and Ethernet plug. But you won't see any of that stuff from the front, leaving the Aspire a very clean design overall. Weirdly, the Aspire is a 23-inch touchscreen, which kind of works. I guess the idea is for it to feel like a giant tablet with live tiles, switching to the desktop app when you want to use the computer like a traditional desktop. The touch sensitivity and tracking are both impressive given how large this screen is, and there are a few novel ways to take advantage of the giant display. The Aspire has a built-in hinge that folds flat, so we laid it on a cabinet and played some air hockey. As I mentioned before though, the power plug does get in the way, so the Aspire only folds mostly flat. Anyway, once the novelty wears off, you'll realize that you'll never use the touchscreen for much, and it feels wholly unnecessary. But at least the display underneath is pretty. A 60Hz refresh rate, 1080p resolution, and a color palette mixed with popping highlighter colors and bountiful dark shades leave me with no complaints. The display is great for daily duty. Now for the legs of the machine. The Aspire U came packaged with a 1TB hard drive, an Intel i5 processor clocked at 2.5 GHz, and an Intel HD graphics card. Adequate for daily tasks and a little bit of gaming, assuming you keep to things like League of Legends. Now during testing, the Aspire held a steady 30 frames per second, with some momentary dips to 24 frames when the action got super hectic. Clearly this isn't built to be a high-performance gaming machine, but it gets the simple stuff done. I doubt you'll ever really want for more firepower here, as long as you understand what you're buying. The Aspire does have a surprisingly pleasing speaker setup though. The volume, clarity, and treble are all impressive from an all-in-one computer. Even the bass is quite good considering there's no dedicated subwoofer. I mean, it won't blow up a nightclub, but it'll be fine for an impromptu Friday night party in an apartment. Acer loaded the new Aspire with Windows 8 just as you'd expect these days. While I love the user interface on tablets and phones, it's still pretty disorienting on full-fledged computers. If there was an option for it from the factory, I'd skip the touchscreen and have Windows 7 as my operating system. The unit comes packaged with Acer badge mouse and keyboard, both Bluetooth of course. Neither is much to write home about, and the keyboard trades solidity for portability. It's a little small for my gorilla hands, but the general population should be just fine. Now this specific model, the Aspire U620, is priced at $999, and for what you get, that's a pretty good value. But I can't help but think that if Acer nixed the whole touchscreen and priced it at $850 or $875, they'd really be going places.